breaking down current events in the courts of law and public opinion. No holds barred. Where no topic is off limits, all viewpoints are welcome, and you can live chat during the show. With tonight's special guest, 7-year-old little Amaria Clark, a special needs student with an IEP adopted from the medical foster system and victimized by her teacher at school. With your host, attorney and licensed minister, Urena Ricks Johnson from Ricks & Associates in West Bloomfield, Michigan. You've seen Attorney Urena in major cases in bankruptcy, real estate, immigration, and probate law. With your host, attorney, registered nurse, and licensed minister, Rossi Williams from Rossi Williams Law Group in Miami, Florida. You've seen Attorney Rossi fighting in major televised cases in civil rights, civil litigation, fighting against schools, and in administrative law and criminal defense. So save the date and don't miss the Attorney's TV shows The Breakdown, streaming every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Attorney's TV show channels on YouTube, Facebook, and all major podcast platforms. No topic off limits, all viewpoints welcome. Live chat during the show, and sign up to get a text reminder when the show goes live each week by texting the word The Attorney's TV Show to phone number 33222. Follow, watch, listen, share, and comment the Attorney's TV shows The Breakdown.
Hello, and welcome to the Attorney's TV show. I'm your host today, Attorney Urena Ricks Johnson, and we are so excited to bring you our first show of 2022. And I have my illustrious co-host, Attorney Rossi Williams. Attorney Williams is having some connectivity issues with her internet in her building, but we're glad that she's able to be with us today. Attorney Williams, how are you today?
I am well. Happy belated New Year, everyone. We're happy to be here with you again tonight.
Yes, we are so happy. We have a great show tonight, and we have some great guests today. We have Mrs. Clark and little Amaria. We're so glad you're here. Mrs. Clark, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
And little Amaria, how are you tonight?
Yeah.
Good. We're so happy that you all were. Today, we're going to talk about a hot topic that's been in the news. It's been trending. And we are here and we have live with us Mrs. Clark and Amaria, and we're going to talk today about kids who are victimized by their teachers. We know that this was a hot topic that has been going on in the news, and Amaria and Mrs. Clark are here today to share their story, and we're here to break down the law, no holds barred. You know how the Attorney's TV show does it. And then we're going to end with our hot topic, and we're going to talk about cryptocurrency. But before we get into it, let's look at some footage.
Center of a lawsuit against the Miami-Dade Public School District. Parents of a special needs girl say she was bullied by her own teacher. CBS 4's Ted Scouten spoke with the girl's mother and reports from Miami.
I like playing on the piano and I like eating my mommy food.
Talking to us with her mother right next to her, 7-year-old Amaria Clark is a happy child who was a student at Air Base Elementary School in Homestead. That is until recently, after allegations that she was bullied by a teacher.
I was hurt. I'm still hurt. You know, I sent her to school. The way I sent her to school, that's the way I expect her to come back.
Ada Clark is Amaria's mom.
She's she's sweet, she's kind, she's loving. She's not an evil child, she's not a vicious child.
The family attorneys say that Amaria, who's developmentally delayed, was mistreated by a teacher, so she was pulled from the class. It's after that the attorneys say that teacher retaliated.
To see Amaria boarding the bus home, come up from behind, swoop in on Amaria without any provocation, notice, or warning, grab Amaria from behind, jerk her and yank her around, to falsely accuse this little girl of stealing a cell phone, which of course there was no cell phone.
According to the family, Amaria suffered a sprained arm and had to wear a sling.
No child should have to go to school worried about what will happen to them in school in regard to the teachers and the administrators.
Wow. I just want to say, as a mother, I have just been so just disturbed by this story. And we appreciate you, Mrs. Clark and Amaria, for just being here and telling your story. Proud to say that she is the attorney, one of the attorneys that's representing Mrs. Clark and Amaria in this case. Now, with your offers representing them, give us in general, the audience, what types of violations of the law are you dealing with?
Again, I just want to remind everyone that Attorney Urena, I'm having some connectivity issues. But generally, when we're talking about cases where we're having to sue the schools for things that they've done to students, we're usually looking at issues such as violation of the 14th Amendment, violation of due process, equal protection. A lot of times there are also negligence causes of action involved. Sometimes it even goes so far as civil battery, or what we call a tort of battery, assault. We've even seen cases where we're dealing with false imprisonment, where the schools have also, restrained and kept the kids contained against their will and against their consent and the consent of the parents, in situations where there was no purpose but to harass or antagonize the children. Now, you did mention, of course, that I'm one of the attorneys, so I do want to acknowledge my co-counsel in this case, as well as the many other cases we are representing around the state of Florida, and that's Attorney Frank Allen. He could not be here tonight because there's a medical emergency that's going on right now in his family. But the first thing is to know that schools, there are remedies against schools when they do such things as they did here to little Amaria. She's like a little baby doll.
Yes.
To me. Mm-hmm. And so there are causes of action in state court as well as federal, but we're going to file these cases in federal court.
Thank you, Attorney Williams. And only on the Attorney's TV show will you get this case broken down, even from the attorney that's handling this case. And I thank you again, Mrs. Clark and Amaria, for being here. And Attorney Williams, we're going to go a little bit further. And I want you to break down tonight for us, give us a brief overview of what happened in this case.
Oh, this was horrible. As you can see here, this is little Amaria Clark. She's 7 years old, and she was a student at Air Base Elementary School here in Miami-Dade County. It's located in Homestead. I say was because she's no longer there. But in Amaria's situation, there was a teacher who retaliated against Amaria in a physical way. And the reason I say retaliated is that Amaria had already been removed from this teacher's classroom about 2 weeks prior to this incident, which occurred last year. So on this particular day, Amaria was headed home. She was getting on the bus, which is how she would ride home. Amaria, just in case you didn't know, she's also a special needs child. Amaria has many medical diagnoses, and her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Clark, adopted Amaria out of the medical foster system. And she has an IEP with the school, special needs program with the school. So they're very much aware of her history and her special needs. On this particular day, Amaria was boarding the bus. She was already in the process of actively climbing up on the steps of the bus. She's on about, I think, the second or third step at that time. And this teacher came up from behind Amaria without provocation, without warning, and without notice. And she grabbed Amaria from behind, yanking her off the bus to accuse Amaria of stealing a cell phone. Now, of course, there was no cell phone. The teacher didn't search for a cell phone. She didn't look for a cell phone because all of this was what we would call in discrimination cases pretext. It's a smokescreen. It's a cover-up for her real motive, which was that she was already mad that this little kid had been removed from her class because she'd been bullying Amaria. I mean, there were times that Amaria would ask to go to the bathroom, and this teacher would accuse Amaria of lying and would not let Amaria go to the bathroom. Amaria has been under the care of a urologist for 4 years for her medical conditions, which includes her bladder conditions. And this is what she was having to endure. So in closing, there was no reason for that teacher to have made any contact with Amaria. Amaria was not her student. She had been removed from her class. Amaria was boarding the bus going home. This teacher had no business touching this child. And that's why we're having to fight this fight today.
I totally agree. And Mrs. Clark, and Amaria, thank you. I know that this is an emotional time just to have to relive this. And we appreciate you so much for just being here to tell your story and just letting America know what happened and why it should not happen to any other child. And as I stated before, as a parent, this is a parent's worst nightmare, to send your child to school and to have something happen. You can only imagine at the hands of another student, but to have it at the hands of a teacher, that can be very devastating and really heartbreaking. So we're going to hear from Mrs. Clark, but before we do, and Amaria, let's look at some more footage.
The Miami-Dade School District released a statement saying these are serious allegations that were thoroughly investigated as soon as they were first reported. The investigation was concluded with a finding of no probable cause.
There was no clearing. Once we get a chance to depose this, principals at the school, officials at the school, the teacher, and some of these students, then we'll see if she's cleared.
The district tells us that teacher has been with them for 45 years with no prior disciplinary action. In Homestead, Ted Scout, CBS 4 News.
Wow. So, Mrs. Clark, we've seen the video footage of what has happened. We've heard from Attorney Williams, which is one of the attorneys that is representing you and Amaria. Can you tell us how this situation makes you feel as Amaria's mother?
It makes me feel so helpless, so helpless. I'm drowning. My baby's drowning. Then I can't save her. It's hard. It's hard. You know.
And as I said, my heart definitely it definitely breaks as a mother. You know, as just someone that knows how much children mean to mothers. It is just heartbreaking. And thank you again. Can you answer the question? Is Amaria still at the same school where the incident happened?
No, ma'am, she's not.
Okay. So at this point, I know, Amaria, I'm going to ask you a question. I know you've been homeschooled before, and your mother moved you from, the school that this happened. But one thing that struck out to me was the fact that you stated that at the new school, you liked it because the teacher let you go to the bathroom. Why was that the reason you liked the school?
Can I see?
What school are you talking about? The school that got pulled out the bus with?
The new school they was going to.
So do you like it better because you get to go to the bathroom at the new school?
Yeah. My teacher let me go 3 or 2 times.
And that's a good thing, because sometimes you have to go to the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
And you need to go when you're able to go, right?
Mm-hmm. Because she might let me go after school.
Well, that's important. Thank you again, Amaria, for sharing with us. Mrs. Clark, can you tell us what this did to you and your family when you heard about Amaria not being able to just simply go to the bathroom when she's at school?
It literally turned us upside down, as if we were in a war and we had no control whatsoever, even though just using the bathroom and having a doctor's note that said that's what she had to do. It was not honored. And we were just lost. We were lost. It's, the words can't even describe it.
Mrs. Clark, I just want to say that you and Amaria are so brave, and thank you again for telling your story and for letting America know what has happened and why this should not have happened to Amaria or any young girl that goes to school, young boy or young girl that goes to school. Attorney Rossi, can you tell us a little bit more about what is the process of schooling a school in Florida?
The first thing is that there are always state claims and there are federal claims. Because state court can hear its state claims, but it really cannot preside over all of the federal claims. And because of additional things, you always want to go through federal court. But in going through federal court, we then include the state claims as well, because the federal court has jurisdiction over both the federal and state claims. Because of that, we have to comply with a statute in Florida, which requires us to give a municipality 6 months notice prior to filing suit. Since these schools are generally run by the municipalities, such as the city or the county, here in this case, this would be Miami-Dade County, we first had to serve upon the school board of Miami-Dade County that pre-suit notice, which is known as a 768 notice in the state of Florida, and that number comes from the statute from which it is derived. Within that notice, we have to provide them the name of the claimant, some demographic information, and then the details, at least the prima facie details of our claim. Once that is served upon the school board, we're then able to begin to work on other things within the case of gathering information, but we cannot file that suit until 6 months after they are served. Again, at any time you could file in Fed court. That's not the requirement. But since within that Fed case, we're including the state claims, we must go through that situation. What will usually happen after we serve a school board, right now, Attorney Allen and I, we have Amaria's case. We're in Manatee County, so many different counties. So after we serve those school boards, some school boards will go ahead and have their insurance companies reach out because they want to try to resolve the matter. Others, you're going to have to take all the way to filing that suit. But for us, it is whatever is necessary to do to obtain that justice. And, I will say in closing, here we are in February right now, and it is Black History Month. And so when we're talking about these cases, it's not always Black children. We represent children who are any race or ethnicity, and all of our clients are not Black children. But to see this Black child, Amaria, 7 years old, and I have to go back to that point of the best thing she liked about her new school after her mom removed her from the offending school of Air Base Elementary is that she could go to the bathroom. If that does not enrage and infuriate every parent, a child should be telling you, well, I liked my new teacher. Oh, I made new friends. Oh, I like the colors. There is never a time that any child should be saying the best thing I liked about my new school is that they let me go to the bathroom. That's why we must carry on this fight. And that school and the teacher must be held accountable. So even though you saw, my last thing I'll say, in the footage earlier, the school board saying that they had thoroughly investigated, Attorney Allen and I would say the evidence says that is not so. We've received multiple calls from parents who have children who were on the bus with Amaria and who saw the footage on the news, and their children saw what this teacher did to this kid. And they're impacted because their children were traumatized seeing this fact. So no, they have not thoroughly investigated, but when we finish, they will.
And thank you, Attorney Williams, for being vigilant and ready to assist Amaria and her mom. We thank you for your vigilance, as well as Attorney Allen, in making sure that the school board and that the school is accountable to Amaria and Mrs. Clark. But everyday America, what can we do to help little Amaria? Attorney Williams, can you help us with that?
Yes, the first thing is speak up and speak out. If you visit our website on callrossywilliams.com, CALLRAWSI Williams.com, you'll see on our high profile cases page, there's a page for Amaria. And on that page, it tells you the numbers to call. Call the school board and demand that this teacher be fired. We are also reaching out to the state attorney's office here because we want them to do a full investigation to determine whether charges need to be filed against this teacher. When you showed the footage at the beginning, you could see Amaria's arm and how the teacher disfigured her arm. And Amaria ended up with having to wear a sling. She ended up having to take pain medications. I mean, this was a serious matter. She went to the hospital immediately following this situation. So speak up, speak out. Call the school board, demand that they terminate this teacher. Call the state attorney's office, demand that they file charges against this teacher. And then what you can also do is ensure that no child has to endure this by holding all teachers accountable. So visit our website, callrossywilliams.com, go to Amaria's page, and you will see the numbers there. No parent, out of everything parents have to fear, COVID, their children contracting COVID, active school shooters, that the child may go to school in the morning and may not be alive in the evening, because kids are taking guns to school. So the very last thing they should ever have to fear is that it will be the administrators and the teachers assaulting their children. Speak up and speak out. Your voice will help make the difference.
Yes, we have a responsibility to our children. We have a responsibility to them to speak up and speak out. Again, thank you so much, Mrs. Clark. Thank you so much, Amaria. We are so happy that you all are here. And we thank you for sharing your story. We thank you for giving America a glimpse of who Mrs. Clark and who Amaria is, because you all are somebody. And we are so glad that you are here to share your story with us. Up next, we're going to go right into our hot topic. Stay tuned with us, okay?
And now it's time for tonight's hot topic.
We're back with our hot topic, and we're so glad that you stayed here with us, and we're so glad that you're here. We've been talking about from the standpoint of finances. It's the beginning of the year. Everyone is talking about budgeting. They're talking about making those New Year's resolutions to save, investments. Today, we're going to talk about cryptocurrency. There has been some waves. There has been some things talking about Dogecoin, Shiba, Bitcoin, Ethereum, those to name a few. And Attorney Rossi Williams, we're going to talk with you today. Based on your experience, what can you tell us about investing in cryptocurrency?
Well, I can say that it's good and it's bad. As Attorney Urena knows, I've been able to do very well in this space. And let me again say to everyone that my building is experiencing emergency connectivity issues. So if you lose my voice or my screen goes out, Attorney Urena has improvised a workaround of me speaking through her phone. So that may be why you're experiencing a delay or may see something going on with my screen. But the first thing to know is that cryptocurrency is here to stay. Many times I hear people say it's a fad. But over about 5 to 7 years ago, I was introduced to cryptocurrency. And at that time, I too thought it was a fad. When I was first introduced, so it's been longer than that, Bitcoin was not even at $1,000 per coin. It now runs anywhere from $38,000 to $50-something thousand a coin. But because I could not conceptualize or understand the implications or the benefits of it, I said, no, I don't want to get involved in that. Well, I have whipped myself many times over that decision. So first thing you need to know is cryptocurrency is here to stay. And so you want to learn about it. The second thing is you have to learn what you should be investing in and what you should not. Many times what we found is that people are losing money because all they're doing is just looking for what is the cheapest coin, what's the next best craze, and a lot of these aren't even real coins. And so that's important to say. I will say next week, Attorney Urena, I know we're going to get into real detail, right, on finances and advanced directives, living wills, getting your house in order. So we'll talk about this in more detail. But the final thing I would say on that then is getting into a group which is knowledgeable so that you can learn the information and not be scammed. Since I've been involved, I would say it's definitely been a total of well over $250,000 that I have helped people to make by getting them involved. So know that it's here to stay, number one. Number two, you have to do your due diligence. You cannot just invest in something because it's cheap. Everything that's out there is not a real coin. That's why you keep hearing the word or the term meme coins. They're not real. And number three, you need to get involved with a group that knows the information. So we're doing a hot topic now, but make sure you're here with us again next Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, because we're going to be going into a lot of detail.
Yes, next Thursday, you don't want to miss it. We're going to go even further into not only cryptocurrency, we're going to talk about financing, investments. We're going to just go into depth about creating a financial plan for you in 2022. And so you don't want to miss it. Now, we always like to end our show. We know that a lot of people are hurting. We've heard about Mrs. Clark, Amaria, and there are a lot of people that are hurting out in America. So we want to today offer a word of prayer, just a brief word of prayer to just pray over, our viewing audience at this time. We ask that you bow your heads and close your eyes. God, we thank you for your goodness. We thank you for your mercy, God. We thank you for Mrs. Clark. We thank you for Amaria. And I ask that you bless them and bless their household, God. I thank you and I praise you for their life and their health and their strength. God, I ask that you give them strength. I ask that you give all those that are experiencing any type of hardship, any type of difficulty, that you give them strength in your power. God, we know that you are the God of all comfort, the God of all strength. God, I ask that you continue to open doors, make ways for us, and reveal yourself to us as only you can. And we'll be so careful today and always to give you glory, honor, and praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Well, thank you again. Make sure you keep in touch with us. Make sure you keep watching us. Now we're available on every podcast system that you can hear us on via our podcast, as well as the Attorneys TV show on YouTube, Facebook. You can stream with us every Thursday at 7:30. We're back. So we thank you for tuning in with us. We thank you, Mrs. Clark. We thank you, Amaria. And we thank you to our co-host, Attorney Roxy Williams. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you next Thursday at 7:30 p.m.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone. And thank you again so much, Mrs. Clark and Amaria, little Amaria, for being here with us tonight. All right. It's Attorneys TV shows The Breakdown.
The Attorneys TV shows The Breakdown, the only show breaking down current events in the courts of law and public opinion. No holds barred, where no topic is off limits, all viewpoints are welcome, and you can live chat during the show. With tonight's special guest, 7-year-old little Amaria Clark, a special needs student with an IEP adopted from the medical foster system and victimized by her teacher at school. With your host, attorney and licensed minister, Urena Ricks Johnson from Ricks & Associates in West Bloomfield, Michigan. You've seen Attorney Urena in major cases in bankruptcy, real estate, immigration, and probate law. With your host, attorney, registered nurse, and licensed minister, Rossi Williams from Rossi Williams Law Group in Miami, Florida. You've seen Attorney Rossi fighting in major televised cases in civil rights, civil litigation, fighting against schools, and in administrative law and criminal defense. So save the date and don't miss the Attorney's TV shows The Breakdown, streaming every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Attorney's TV show channels on YouTube, Facebook, and all major podcast platforms. No topic off limits, all viewpoints welcome. Live chat during the show, and sign up to get a text reminder when the show goes live each week by texting the word The Attorney's TV Show to phone number 33222. Follow, watch, listen, share, and comment the Attorney's TV shows The Breakdown.
Attorney Rossi. Great show.
Have you ended it?